Hey guys, what's up? All right. It's Double Deuce back. So, I got the prototype Howin L-6 engine running on nitro. I'll explain. I know I've been in hiatus for the last few weeks, and it's all because of this. So, grab your favorite beverage, smoke, popcorn, whatever you want to do, and hang out with me today. And I will tell you what I had to go through, and actually what stirlingkit all their engineers have to go through when they get one of these prototypes. This was not a kit version, it was a prototype. They made 6 of these. I got one, and I wanted to really see what they had to go through to make one run. So anyways guys, hang out with me today and let's do this. Okay guys, welcome back. Now we have what we call a seat of the pants engineering going on here. You'll see there's lots of oil, there's glow plugs. There's not a distributor, okay, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But this engine, let me pull this nitro stuff off here and drain it out. This engine was one of 6 of, six of prototypes made to create this engine. Now, when I got it, there was some problems, which is expected during like a test engine. Okay. Now, a lot of you guys, I know we expect the best when we get our engine, and so I've heard a lot of complaints. Engine's not running, people can't get them running, and it's basically all, I guess, figuring it out. So you'll know this is a prototype engine because it has these 2 bars on the side here that actually have 2 small cam supports for the camshaft. What they do, they're just a little cup, because the camshaft is so long that it flexes. So they created this. Now on the new engine, they eliminated these. And I think they come up with a journal in there for the cam to ride on. Now, I'm trying to figure out where to start here, because like, I know you guys, I always put a video up every week, but this thing had put me through the test. And even though I'm a VA guy, I had to get this running because I wanted to hear it run. And when I got it running, it sounded just like a real 6-cylinder Ford engine. It has that same sound. I was totally impressed, Anyways, so I had a few problems with the distributor. You notice the distributor housing is not on here because I'm dealing with changes in the hall sensor. The hall sensor goes in here, which is in your CDI unit right here. This is your little hall sensor. It was too far away from the magnet, and so I had to go in there and kind of file that out by hand. Last night at about 11 o'clock at night, I got this thing to spark, and I actually bolted it up here like this and was turning it and playing with the hall sensor spacing and the roto reluctor wheel in here. Now what I found out was the magnet is sitting down too far, so it only comes up about maybe halfway through that little hole right there, and it doesn't trigger the CDI unit. So what I was doing, I was playing back and forth. I realized that the magnet support was put in upside down, so I turned it around, which brought the magnet up, but it still needs a little bit of tweaking in these little holes here. So that'll be my next venture, because I do want to run this on gasoline. Now, When I first got the engine, being it was a test engine, let me take off all these plugs here so we can move it around without ripping stuff apart. You'll see there's lots of oil on the sides here because of leaky gaskets, and which I'm going to tear it all apart and machine all the edges on all the stuff to make sure everything sets flush. I think the bolts are a little too long and it's not really bringing everything in tight, because this one does not have O-rings. It has a real gasket that does your intake manifolds and your exhaust. Now, when I got this engine, to start off, I had none timing marks between the crankshaft to the camshaft where they should be. So I had to sit there by hand and figure out, you know, the revolutions, because here's what happens on these engines, okay? The crankshaft runs counterclockwise, but the camshaft is just a gear on the crank, so it runs clockwise. So everything's reversed on the camshaft, you know, relevant to the crankshaft. And so it took me some time to figure that out. And while assembling this, there were holes, but they were not tapped. So I had to buy taps. And am I complaining? No, I'm not, because I wanted to see what the engineers at Stirlingkit had to go through, because they got these engines too. And everybody was kind of throwing them under the bus because of all the oil, they weren't running properly. Well, seriously, I spent 40 hours on this cylinder head alone, trying to make everything perfect, okay? The rocker arms did not fit the rocker support brackets, okay? So I had to hand file all of these by hand, and I did like 3-4 a night to make sure that they were proper. And then when I got it together, it was still not right. So I had to back all these off by half a turn to give it enough valve clearance to rev and start. There was just so many things on this engine that I didn't realize the you know, what they go through there to bring us something this nice. Now this thing sounds like a real L-6 engine, Ford engine, and I'm working on the distributor now. I got no gaskets with this engine whatsoever, so I'm going to have to make my own. My goal was to get this thing running and fire it up for you guys, because the production engine, I guess, is pretty sweet. They wanted me to send this back, and I said no, not till I get it running. So I got it running on nitro and glow plugs, which that makes your timing right, okay? So I found out what the timing was. That took a few Coca-Colas, you know what I'm saying? Because what I had to do was take the timing gear off each time and move it one tooth. And I had to bring the crankshaft around to where, you know, there's top dead center, front and back. They suggested in the center. I went my own route. I did front, back. The front is firing. The rear is on a cycle. It's actually bringing the exhaust up. So it's kind of like the Conley V8. The Conley V8, they don't give you timing marks on any of the gears of the engine. They give you number one cylinder, and then when the exhaust valve is closing and the intake valve is opening, when it just begins to lift, that's where you put your timing marks. So that took a lot of figuring out on this engine, because I knew nothing about this engine whatsoever. But now that I've got it, everything's here, you know. Now I'm going to get the CDI unit running so I can run it on gasoline. I'm still, with the nitro, I'm still playing with the carburetors. You'll hear it in a second. And you'll see that it's just not quite there yet, because these carbs need some work when you get them. You have to take the needle out, kind of file the edges off to give them a little bit of a curve, because they cut them straight, and you need a little bit of a kind of a slope on the edges of the needles on these things. They're a good carb because they got a pump in them, and which is unheard of with all the RC stuff out there. And being this is like the first version of this carburetor, I take my hat off to those guys for creating this, because these are toy-in carburetors, and they work well. Now, let's get to the cylinder head. When I got the cylinder head, I got these spark plugs with it. These are quarter 32s, all right? These are, they're a big plug. However, this cylinder head was machined for the small, I think 10-30 spark plugs that come in the Sisson V-twin engine. So I didn't know that. So the first thing I had to do was hog out all these areas here, and to make room for the bigger plug. And being that the glow plugs are the same threads as the big plugs, that, you know, was a kind of a bonus for me to figure out the timing on it, right? So, long story short, I got the wrong plug sent to me by mistake. They apologized for that, but seriously, I went through many hours of making these fit, and actually making a socket. I had to put the socket in my lathe and grind it down so it will fit within the hole, so I can tighten it down because of the bigger base on the plug. So then I had problems fitting all the stuff together because it's just a prototype. Now you expect this, so you can't complain about it. So I hand fitted every one of these. I did all the machining around the plug, and then re-tapped the plugs, because I had to buy taps for it, because my quarter 32 tap has come up MIA somewhere, so I had to buy new taps. And I got it all together, and then I was going to put the bell housing on, and then I realized that these aren't tapped either, because it's a prototype. So the prototype goes through rolling changes. So anyways, guys, let's hear this thing run again. Any questions, comments, feel free to hit me up. I did order the gasoline conversion kit for the auto engines, because that's coming, and hopefully my Engine More V8 will be here too. I kind of backed out on that, so all you guys out there that bought one would get yours first. I had the pleasure of the prototype, which, you know, I thought was wicked cool, and I did many videos on that, so I can't wait for mine to come. And you know, now being there's a you know, a reawakening in China because of the COVID. They've had their Chinese New Year, you know, and who knows what's going to happen now. Everybody goes home. Maybe they spread it again. We don't know. But still, stay safe, you know. Always stay faithful because this is all we have. I mean, there's no other, really no other companies out there doing this stuff, you know. Can you get an OS Ford L-6 engine? No, you can't. And can you get a Toyon V8? Yeah, they got problems. And mine has problems too. I'm waiting for rods to come because I got a new supercharger, and I just seen Johnny Q90 put up a video about the supercharger not quite working well, which is my next challenge when I get my Toyon V8 put back together. But the thing is, this is all about learning. It's a hobby. So, you know, it's not like you go buy yourself a new car and, you know, you're making crazy payments on the car and all this stuff and it doesn't run. This is a hobby. This is something you do. When I woke up this morning, here in New England, it was -6 degrees. So I said to myself, today I'm going to spend a little love on this engine and see if I can get it fired up. So, alright guys, I'm going to run it again. Let me know what you think. You know, like, share, subscribe if you want. I have a problem with the Amp Pro battery thing here. A lot of you guys have bought stuff and it's not being shipped. I got all the info on that this morning. They've changed everything in the company, so everything's a hot mess over there. So I'm waiting for the email to come back because I sponsored them, and when I put something in my channel, I'm very reluctant to put any advertisements in my channel. They give me a couple of free batteries here and there. That's all, you know. And I guess you guys have bought batteries and not got them. So I pick and choose who I want to advertise on my channel. Because the way I see it, if it's not going to be something good, I'm not going to give it to you guys. I've had scooters, I've had wheelchairs, I've had bikes. I got everything. And I still get people hitting me up now trying to come into a contract on my channel. Even though I am broke as a joke, okay, I will not succumb to that crap. You know what I mean? Like, because my loyalty is to you, my fans, my subscribers. And so, anyways, guys, love to all. Like, share, subscribe if you want. Tell your friends. Put it on Instagram. Who knows, you know, like, that'll help me out a little bit, you know. And if you want to fund me, you know, go down below there and check out the little funding screen. So, all right, guys, later.